Hey, Aaron, you idiot. Do you know that there's a space between Vander and Stoop in my list?
Just forcing the issue.
I'm sorry.
Welcome to the 135th episode of News Dump. I'm not going to edit that out. Where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron Van Tile, joined tonight by the Chronicle's chief editor Eric Schwartz and assistant editor Isabel Vander Stoop.
Good pause.
And we're joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding and the Roof Doctor. It is Monday, March 20th, and how's everybody doing?
I'm sorry for calling you an idiot. I thought that you would just start over. I was just
Don't
trying
apologize
to
to
make
him.
you laugh.
You thought wrong.
It's not the first time. Won't be the last.
I'm
everybody,
good.
Everybody good? Isabel, you saw some horsies this weekend?
I did lots of horses. There's a
Horsies.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
We're using the technical term.
Yes,
Yeah.
I apologize. Lots of horsies. And yeah, it was great. The WF West girls, well, actually, it's just athletes, but there do happen to just be girls on the WF West team, but anybody can participate in equestrian stuff. But yeah, they competed at the Grays Harbor County Fairgrounds. I went on Saturday afternoon and on Sunday morning for dressage and for roping and other cow events on Sunday. I'm hoping to go again because it's a ton of fun and they have so many different kinds of events. You can't really possibly cover it all in one weekend, but there were all sorts of different things that came out of it and lots of different Lewis County students. So if you want to read about it, it's in tomorrow's paper and online.
All right. And Schwartz, you had a interesting weekend of watching basketball. Do you want to discuss the game you watched Friday night? In particular.
What did I watch on Friday night? It's hard to
a certain
keep track of it.
championship, I believe.
No. I mean, I watched a lot of basketball, and then I watched, I believe it was an exhibition between two small Christian schools. I'm not sure.
False.
Yeah, Albertsons College did win
the College of Idaho
13 and over AAU regional championship.
Congratulations to our national champion College of Idaho men's basketball team.
Wow.
Yeah, you know,
Really taking a pride in name one player.
There's
One.
a guy named Jake on there.
What's his last name? Who's the coach?
Can't
Do you
remember.
like them just because they're like a rival of Eric's?
No, it's his own alma
I
mater.
like them because
know.
I went to school there.
I did not know that.
He went to school at Albertsons College, I believe.
It was just Albertson College.
Oh, just
at that
Albertson
point.
College.
Yes.
Gotcha.
College.
Yes.
So this is a new college, and
Not necessarily.
you are claiming it's basketball championship, but you don't. You know fewer players
New
than I
college
do.
attended by famous alumni Elgin Baylor.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
of course,
Oh my
him.
gosh. Congratulations, Aaron.
Pioneer of the game.
Where did you go to school, Eric?
Such a hard question. Eastern Washington University.
Oh, university.
Yeah.
Not just college.
Well, they were a college in the 70s. They also had a very racist mascot, so I don't want to dig too deep here.
All right, yeah. I would
I'm just giving
invite
you a hard
either
time.
of you to share your most recent national championships with the table.
Personally, I have none.
And you?
Actually,
You
my-
mean from my alma mater?
Yes.
Women's rowing. I went to Western, dog. I went to a cool school.
The student paper at Eastern won a national championship. Beat
Congratulations.
Rice and Wake Forest.
Wow.
It's a really sick team.
Wow.
But also,
for you.
Western's Division II, so it's not like the same kind of thing.
Right. It's not the same.
It's NAIA.
NAIA.
Anyway, it about wraps it up, right? No news this week. Nothing dicey to discuss.
Just
See y'all
celebrating.
later.
First news item, liquor license reapplication denied for Chehalis restaurant that flouted COVID closure orders. Laurel Kahn, the owner of Mackinaw's and also Curio's Bar, which is kind of in the same spot, lost her liquor license during COVID when she somewhat loudly broke the rules. She recently applied to have it reinstated, and the Liquor and Cannabis Board denied her request. From the LCB's ruling, quote, the board will not normally issue a license to any person who has demonstrated a pattern of disregard for laws and rules. Issuance of the liquor license will not be in the best interest of the welfare, health, or safety of the people of the state. I'm not sure how related this is, but Laurel plans to run for governor in 2024 as a Republican. because the independent party isn't there yet. Is there an independent party?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on level of government.
I mean, I don't know like how.
It's also an
incorporated
informal
they are.
designation for people that'll vote both ways. So
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, like I don't want to like laugh at a local business going under because it's a nice option to have, and people obviously make a living there, and it hasn't gone under yet or anything like that. But
sounds like it's gonna.
yeah. But also, like, what did you think they were just going to give your liquor license back?
I think Laurel is not afraid to say that she did not think through that this might be the end consequence, especially because she was one of many in Lewis County who took like a stance against it. And I'm not saying, and like she's not even really not, what's the word, culpable. Like she knows that this was like a choice that she made, but I think that like at the time it didn't really dawn on anyone that this might be where it ends up.
I'm just glad, that I could sit in a tent outside of O'Blarney's watching a sports game through the window on the TV, propped up against the window, crammed in next to other people, and I was safe. Whereas, have I stepped into Laurel's business, I would have been stricken with COVID, placed on a ventilator, and so I appreciate the state stepping in with a fair and even-headed plan for restaurants during this time.
I mean, where do you draw the line at which rules can just be tossed away in the past? And
I think we'll find out if there's ever another pandemic. But seeing as that's like a once in a lifetime thing, it seems like I don't know that we will.
Well, once in our lifetime so far.
I'm still very much against like normalizing that it's the state telling you what you can and cannot do as a business. I would have much appreciated like some guidance or like at least less heavy-handed. I never ran a restaurant, and I continue to think that if I did, I would have a much different perspective on government, whether I was a Democrat or Republican, if I had just been told you can't open. Like, you just can't.
Well, and Laurel was not a conservative necessarily before this. Like, I know that she's been, like, Democratic in the past, she's definitely voted Democrat.
Not
I
a
know
partisan.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like she necessarily like did this to say like, oh, Inslee's the stupidest. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was just about that. I think it was about like, to her, she thought that she was keeping like a sense of normalcy. And then now she's probably not going to be able to run her business anymore. And she said something like, yeah, I really wish the people who were there then are here now, Yeah.
I don't know. I have no further thoughts.
No further thoughts?
Not for the pot. Do you want me to really go off on it? Like,
not really.
You want to talk about what the state will and won't allow you to do? Why don't you go buy some crack cocaine at the store,
I mean,
sir?
that's a stretch, though. We're talking doing business versus illicit drugs. If that's your best example, then I think you need to think on it a little bit more.
I mean, there's a lot more examples of
As
doing
the husband
business.
of someone in the restaurant industry, maybe I'm a bit biased as well. But I just think I think that we've collectively lost how weird and unprecedented it was to have the governor come out every night and tell you what business can be open and what cannot, and like make decisions from there somewhat arbitrarily. As Isabel mentioned, they weren't the only one that was doing it, maybe the loudest, and you end up on Brandy Cruz in the nightly news and the front page of the Chronicle. Then I think maybe the state does feel a little backed into a corner where if we let this one very public thing go, then we're going to start seeing a lot more of this. But then when you see like there's not a subsequent crackdown on others that are doing it quietly, then it's like hypocrisy to me.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I also like she could have just gotten away with it if she wouldn't have been so loud and like, look at me. The rules don't matter. I'm breaking them anyway.
But also, like, we're not just talking about, like, not having rules that have applied to her or not having the fines or whatever. We're talking about a reapplication for a liquor license, like, 15 months after the last offense. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
also, like, it's a liquor license, not a business license.
Yeah,
Nobody's
but
saying you can't be in business doing
she runs
this.
a bar.
Yeah, it's like stopping the Chronicle from publishing news. I mean, you can still stay in business, just don't publish news.
I'm not saying...
It's just like stopping the Chronicle from running the comics.
I'm not trying to, like, defend...
Dilbert? You're bringing Dilbert into this?
I'm not trying to defend it one way or the other, but I do think it's, like, more severe than it actually necessarily needs to be for the public safety. I just say that.
Just imagining Aaron as a gymnast on the uneven bars, jumping from logic point to logic point to round out his presentation.
Sure. Yes, I'm the fool here.
No, you're not a fool.
It was declared at the opening of this podcast that, in fact, I am. Anyway, let's move on. Toledo talks of growth, M- of town and plants alike, M- at annual big meeting. Toledo had its big meeting, which I am convinced is a very cool thing. I like the big meeting. Big fan of the big meeting.
Me too.
Big meeting, big fan.
We go every year.
Toledo has a 97 house development coming in. Toledo also has a neighbors program that hooks people up who are short on food with local veggies and other things, food things. There's also a veggie program at the school. A lot of veggies in Toledo.
A lot of growth.
And also at the high school, the YWCA has been hosting a talk series on challenging social topics like gender and understanding LGBTQ+, anti-racism, body positivity, and having healthy relationships. And Toledo is going to have another big meeting to talk about the bond they're going to have to pass after God himself smites the building into ash.
Oh, boo.
Anyway, how was the big meeting?
It was good. I just thought I was kind of, everybody talks for like 3 minutes maybe. And when I say everybody, I just mean the people who have decided they want to talk. And so I was sort of thinking, how am I supposed to write about this? But then I had the word growth pop in my head and how a lot of these different stories had that as a common theme. They're like literally growing students at the school district. The students are growing plants. The plants are growing and the town is growing. You know what I mean? I thought it was kind of a fun, tried to weave it together. And that was a way to cover a lot of different topics. Obviously it couldn't get it all in there, but it's a nice thing that they do, and I was glad to be able to go. Normally, Emily Fitzgerald would cover this as she's our South County reporter, but she is performing in Lend Me a Tenor at the Evergreen Playhouse, which, if you haven't gone to see it, you really should, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I say to Schwartz when I'm short on cash at O'Blarney's.
My take's going to be quite controversial. I see 97 houses and I see 97 roofs. And I think that it would behoove us to let these future homeowners know where they should go when those roofs need servicing.
That's a hot take, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
Should they maybe dial up 360-736-0246 and talk to our good friends at the Roof Doctor?
Oh, I think they should. It's a family-owned roofing company since 1959. Roofing, roof repair, roof cleaning, emergency roofing. It's exciting every time. And as always, don't take our word for it, because Ronald O says, 5 stars. We just hired the Roof Doctor in Olympia, Washington to remove our old roof and install a new roof. Exceptional professional work completed by all the workers. They arrived at 7:30 a.m. and the roof was completed by 4:30 p.m. 1 day service. If you want a roof done right the correct way, call the Roof Doctor.
I mean, in all honesty, that's pretty impressive. They show up at 8:30 and you know what? Your roof's done. And it's the end of the day. Business hours or clockwork.
Just out.
Reliable. Good. You love to see it.
I'm looking at these reviews and I don't see a single one that isn't 5 stars out of 5.
They're all 5 stars. Ronald O, Lee, Stoney B, Ken S, who can forget John D.
Of course, John.
Autumn B, and Ken D, and Christine. And keep going. Cindy S, Doug R.
Oh, all right.
5 stars all around.
Big shout out to Mr. Keith Brent with his no pressure estimate and great communication skills from Lee.
If you want to learn more, visit www.theroofdoctor.com.
I'm glad we got that in.
Yeah, you knocked it out early. Great work,
Loosen
guys.
up now.
Yeah.
Next item. Trained by previous owners, Chehalis couple to reopen Adna's Dirty Thumb Nursery. After running the nursery since 1989, founders Connie and Spencer Davis sold the spot to Jenna and Kyle Asleton of Chehalis in October. And you know what? This is capital G good. 10 out of 10. No notes.
You know who told me about this story?
Was it me?
Your mom.
Oh.
And I'm not making a joke. It was Carmen.
She got you.
Carmen told me about it.
I need
It's
some
so
ointment for
lovely.
that.
Okay, no, but really, like, this actually is such a lovely story. And I know there were a lot of people who were sad when they saw the Davis couple selling Dirty Thumb, just because it's such a nice, iconic business that people who go there, I'm sure like 90% of them are regulars. And now the couple has retrained or has started to train a younger version of themselves, sort of. And it sounds like it's going to be really great.
Yeah, it is. Dirty Thumb's cool.
Certainly a
some
popular
plants?
business online. Isabel's on the record is saying that the Dirty Thumb is the official start of Adna.
I do believe that. And you know what? It's not even not even an Adna address.
No, it's Chehalis.
Nothing is an Adna
There's
address,
no Adna
though.
address.
No, but they don't even they can't even get, she was telling me this, Jenna Aselton was, that they can't like get mail at the Adna post office, I don't think. Like it's not even in the Adna like postal code area.
Whereas for me, as soon as you travel west over the Chehalis River Bridge and you're back on solid soil from Chehalis, Adna.
No, I think
Nope.
it's like once you pass
Linton
Hillcrest.
Alexander Park is in the city of Chehalis Parks. Like that's a city park.
And you turn off in Adna to get to it.
And then the poplar trees, that's also city of Chehalis.
I
that's
love
the
those
old
trees.
Hamilton farm. Don't call
That's
it
why
the
I drive out to
poplar
Adna
trees.
again, see those trees.
Anyway,
I'm just saying it's called the Poplar Tree Farm, like the city of Chehalis Poplar Farm.
Where do you
if
draw?
you're a Lewis County noob,
He said Hillcrest.
Okay, I got you. That's fair, I guess.
yeah. Once
I'm
you
not-
see whatever sign is hanging on the left past Hillcrest there, you're in Adna, baby.
I'm not completely against that because I do believe most of Twin Oaks Road and Frogner and Cousins are all Adna.
Of course they are.
But
what else would they be?
I think when you're on Highway 6, it doesn't start until you're in Dirty Thumb because that's the beginning of Twin Oaks anyways. So basically, you're not in Adna if you're going on to Twin Oaks from 603, but you're on it if you're going to it from 6. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, once you turn off 603 onto Twin Oaks, you're in Adna.
I disagree.
If you're on the highway, you're still in Chehalis. You take a right, Adna. Keep going straight for a mile, Napavine.
No, what?
Yeah, those are the rules.
No,
Seems
people
closer
who
to my
live
claim, so I'm going to accept that.
People who live in the Newaukum area call it that. It's called like Newaukum Hill. Like people say, I live in the Chehalis in like the Newaukum area. Nobody says I live in Napavine if they live up on 603. Like Devereese, like those people say they live in Chehalis. Ask them.
Well, if you turn off of 603 to the left, then you're in Chehalis. But if you're on 603, then you're in Napavine. I don't make the rules. Anyway.
So you think the Newaukum Grange is in Napavine?
I do, and I'm tired of pretending it's not.
That's ridiculous.
Anyway.
Incorporate, you cowards.
Yeah. Next item. City of Centralia annexes land that includes homeless camp. Development expected. During Tuesday night's regular meeting, the Centralia City Council moved to annex a 109-acre plot of land along Reynolds Avenue. It kind of runs from like the overpass Blakesley Junction area down to the Skookumchuck River. It doesn't go all the way down to Pearl, though.
I got the map here right in front of me. So
I looked at the map and it was inconclusive.
Are we going to have another argument?
This
what was the
the
question?
map
Does it
can
go
solve
to?
I'm
this
just
one.
teasing.
Does it
Like
go
how far? What direction is that? East?
Where West
Yeah,
Reynolds
no.
ends.
It's like
That's not a real road.
less than half the distance between the overpass and Pearl Street is included. I
So,
just
like this
spin
side of
around
Danville
for you.
Distributing?
There you go.
Using a visual
Oh, it
medium
goes deep.
Yes.
on
All
a
right.
podcast.
And it does go all the way to the border of the Skookumchuck River as well, to the
Okay.
south. And then it's actually a little on the other side of the freeway as well, that property. Oh, man, I can't remember what that road is.
Reynolds?
Yeah, but it's like at the corner where you come out of the outlets to take a right on Reynolds.
Is that Belmont High Street? It's not High Street.
No, it starts with an L. We're exposing ourselves as fools.
Earl? Earl's up a little further.
But there's a
Not
little
Pearl.
chunk on the west side of the freeway that's
Yeah.
included as well.
Okay. Yeah, it's a big chunk of land. They're going to do some developing. This area does cover the homeless encampment at the end of Eckerson, and they're working on it, as to what to do there.
Yes, that whole topic seems to be a work in progress right now. But this was the second and final reading, so it is annexed.
Mija Hanlon said, at least in this story, is quoted as saying, like, oh, I can sort of off the record tell you that WASDOT is working with us to figure out what to do there. But the county has openly said that for the last, like, little while now. So it seems as though they would really like to get that encampment out of there, but they haven't really figured out how to do that ethically or safely or legally. So there's like a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't know if it does not appear that at the time this annexation will have any effect on that. It sounds like they're just going to be like, yeah, we'll enter into an interlocal agreement and then we'll be in the same place where we were. Seems like that, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Am I the only one that thinks that when one of the cities annexes territory, that there should be a procession led by the mayor with a flag of that city that starts at City Hall and builds in number as you get there, and then just aggressively slam your flag in?
I like that.
Who are they annexing it from?
I don't know.
Like nobody, it's not like a currently occupied territory or anything.
From Lewis County
unincorporated Lewis County?
Yes.
Lewis County, I believe DOT owns some land in that easement as well.
They actually just have the right of way.
Okay.
Well, at least besides, I think if you count the freeway, they probably own the land. But the reason there's WASDOT involved in the Blakesley Junction area is because it's like right next to the freeway, so it's in WASDOT's right of way. Mm-hmm. So like when you do things in Lewis County, even if they're in city property and you're like affecting county roads, you still need some of the county's like approval. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
But the freeway you see is elevated. So do they have the airspace?
Maybe.
They should.
I don't actually know how that works. That's like really layers of bureaucracy that not even I know.
I think flooding is interesting to people on this topic as well, me being one of them.
Yeah.
Chad Taylor, our fine owner, picked me up during the last flood, January 2022, and this was the only way to get back because Reynolds was closed. And water was flowing across this entire area. And there's a tunnel that goes under the Interstate 5 bridge that allows the water to eventually connect back with the Chehalis River. But, I mean, I saw it with my own eyes less than 2 years ago that floodwater will come that way. And Owen Sexton, who wrote the story up, addressed it a little bit as far as, like, they're going to have to elevate whatever they develop there. Also, they plan to have some retention ponds and things like that. But, like, latest evidence is floodwater does flow right through this area.
I would be against them elevating anything because if they elevate that, then the water is going to go downhill into the hardworking taxpayers of Centralia's Wanch Prairie.
So that's what I was driving at as well, sir. Are you advocating for like a build down? If you're going to build in the floodplain, you got to go a foot down.
Yeah, you got to dig the whole thing out.
You have to put yourself at higher risk.
You got to dig down and then build on stilts. That's the only fair way to do it.
But they're not necessarily talking about building up as in like building the land up. They're talking about building buildings up to get them out of the height of the high water mark.
Yeah, but to do that, you've got to fill in.
Yeah, there'll be fill dirt. There will be fill.
Keep the fill.
Well, that seems like a problem for you guys.
Sounds like it's a problem for Centralia, which includes me. So, yes, it is a big problem.
Aaron's like, build the dam.
Yeah. Specifically right around my house. Anyway.
You guys pro dam?
Yeah.
I'm pro not flooding.
I'm pro Pete's hole, man. I've said it time and again. Next item. State Rep Jim Walsh testifies before Senate committee in favor of family burial bill as opposition voices concerns. This is Jim Walsh's, quote, bury your dead wherever the hell you want bill, and I am on his side.
I am too. I love this.
Yeah. The bill takes into account issues about environmental setbacks and public rights of way. He also said the proposal limits the size of the burial plot to 10% or less of the total lot size. I say, why limit it? Sounds like yet another instance of big government telling me how much of my property I can stuff with the corpses of my loved ones or unloved ones. Anyway, an amendment was added to require people to report family burials on private property to the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation. No. Where I bury my dead family members is between me and God, and I'm not sure he's listening. Your thoughts?
Yeah, if I can just get on my soapbox for a minute, we have more people in the world who have been dead than are alive today, right? By like a lot. And
I don't know that the math checks out on that. There's a lot of people alive right now.
Yeah, there's like
More being born every moment.
Just look it up. I
He's
swear
just not willing
to
to
you,
accept it right away.
I swear
Especially
to
in
you,
red states.
way more people have been dead than are alive. I can promise you that is true. So
It's a moving target.
yeah, but it's only going.
Let her get to her point.
It's only going
You're
up.
stepping on her bits.
The dead people is only going to be more all
The
the
dead
time.
speak.
The alive can only be so much at a time. Okay, whatever. So, and as like population booms, are we going to every single time somebody dies continue in America to dig a 6-foot hole, put cement around it, and then embalm people and put them in it? Like, it seems so unreasonably bad for the environment and costly and insane.
Well,
or
yeah, if
the
you're
other
using
option,
cement.
that's what they do. The other option is cremation, which is just more emission. In my opinion, the most sustainable way to do it is exactly like this. You just throw them in the backyard. Composting, baby. And I'm not trying to be insensitive.
Mm-hmm.
We can become one with the earth in this way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm down.
One interesting thing I thought about this story, which Matthew Zylstra did a good job on. If you dig anywhere at a substantial scale in Washington, you've got to get the Department of Archaeology in on it. So do you feel like you'll keep your same stance on the issue if you have to dig up someone else's dead relative in order to put your own relative in? And I think that was the opposition, was that there wasn't oversight from the Department of Archaeology. So if you dig up some bones, you're just like, I'm putting mine here, and it's like a Native American from like the 1800s, Aaron, I think this would find your attention.
It
Then
would.
I feel like, yeah, that might be a good idea to add an amendment where
Sure.
if you're going to bury a relative, you need to have the Department of Archaeology out there to have a look. So that's when I jerk back the other way, and then you're just adding an entire new workload and bureaucracy. So I really don't know how I feel about the issue.
There's also the fact that, like, when you sell your house, you're going to have to be like, oh, and also Dave is back there, you know? So I do understand it's not like it's a simple, easy problem, but I do think the way we bury our dead right now is completely unsustainable, and we need to be thinking about that. Like, we really need to be thinking about that. We talk about growth and where people are going to live, but we don't talk about where they're going to die.
I'm just doing like a Forrest Gump thinking about it, like digging a hole for your loved one without checking with Department of Archaeology and running into a dead body. It's like, graves taken, can't dig, can't die here.
I mean, there's always the Bin Laden method, you know, float them out to sea.
It's not like the yeah. I
I've
like the
always thought-
Viking method.
I've always
Similar
thought
to
it
the
would
Bin Laden
be
method.
really cool if you guys just like put me up on a mountain and like vultures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or just like on top of,
I like the-
Salisbury Hill, create like the turkey vultures. Let them get in there.
I like the imagery of a mountain, but if you do it in a different place, I won't know.
I was thinking the other day, like a good outdoorsy story. What's the highest point in Lewis County?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably Baffa Peak, though. Well, actually,
I was
Baffa,
thinking like East Lewis County, like around like Shoe Lake area, like to get up there.
I
pretty
bet
high.
I bet it's Baffa Peak, but maybe High Rock. I can check it out. I'll look into that. That's a good one.
Yeah, good story. You're welcome.
I think it would become a question of like boundaries, because if there's a spot in the technical Lewis County map that is also in Mount Rainier National Park or
Well, that counts.
the monument.
Yeah, just climb up there, check it out, find it. Check your little like.
Then I think it's probably in the east somewhere.
Yeah.
Good question, though. We should find that out.
Really good
And the
question.
lowest point as well.
Yeah.
Well,
also,
she's right here in this office.
Your
baby.
soul.
also, the like Cougar area, you know, has
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of big points. Like, what do they call it?
Yeah.
Like Tumwater Peak or something? I'd have to look.
Not familiar, but yeah, good. I would be interested in knowing.
We can just find out on Google Earth, though. We don't have to like actually climb.
No, climb. Do you want a story, or do you want to be like, well, I Googled it, and here's some news?
I mean, that's how most of it goes, you know?
Do we
When
want to
I
discuss?
just to close that out, I Googled highest point in Lewis County, Washington, and it
was
auto
Uncle Ando's World of Weed, new sponsor.
It auto returned Boisfort Peak, Baffa.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's true. We'd have to look at it, but that's at 3,113 feet.
Pretty high.
Okay. Next item. Under anti-racist group scrutiny, Ethel Woman says her husband was in the Ku Klux Klan. Additional comments?
This isn't Isabel's story, so let her unpack it.
Well, so you likely remember last week when we talked about the store in downtown Centralia. After that, and it wasn't the first time they'd done so, but I was looking at it now, paying more attention because this is like something that we're seeing like right in front of our faces. And there's this woman in Ethel who runs a business, Sacred Spiral Sanctuary. She's a pagan, self-proclaimed, and according to the Southwest Washington anti-racism movement, like she has these ties to other groups. And so I reached out to her and she was like, yep, my husband was in the Ku Klux Klan. And I thought that was a really interesting, not something you hear every day kind of story. And so it's about that. And that's kind of the whole thing.
All right.
And it kind of ties into the reporting you did in the previous week, right?
Yeah, which I think I don't think that subject's necessarily over because apparently the city councilors talked about it on Tuesday.
This is the business in downtown Centralia that has links to a white supremacist group.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not my favorite subject to report on, I'll say that.
What do we know about Swarm? Do we know who is behind Swarm?
I've never met anybody involved in it in person.
So it's like a Facebook page?
There's a Facebook page and an email, and I have communicated with the group over email many times, especially for this subject. And that's what I know. So I have said a spokesperson for the group or just attributed the group specifically and asked when I'm quoting or attributing stuff to them, I've said is this an official statement on behalf of the group? And they're like, yeah, basically. So that's where I am with that. I don't think I think it's valuable to have somebody talking about this in Lewis County, but I didn't think the credibility one way or another of them made this interesting. I thought what's interesting was a woman sitting across from me and telling me her husband was in the KKK.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. It was a question I had. I think we discussed before I came in here today. So maybe that's something people are asking and something we can answer.
Yeah.
But I also think it's really newsworthy. So if an individual is identified as a white supremacist and that becomes its own full narrative to the point of, mild virality on social media, at some point it's good for the local newspaper, I think, to come in and ask. And I think I was as surprised as you, that she was willing to talk, she was willing to explain.
Yeah.
And she was willing to do that.
And I will say, she denounced what they stand for. And obviously actions speak louder than words, and who knows what she does in her life. But she very clearly was like, yeah, I do not agree with what the KKK stands for. So, it's not like she's saying, oh, we think this is great.
But, no. And,
yeah.
and I think us as individuals and the podcast, I could say we detest white supremacy and we reject it and everything like that.
Denounce.
I'm not going to mix these two worlds, but I think sometimes people are confused that I wish they would all talk out loud, the white supremacists. I wish we could know who they all are, and I wish you could trust what they were saying when they said it. Yeah. I've shared before my nephew, his father's black, having a classmate from Forks approach me at a local bar here in town and say, hey, I know your nephew. It sure is a shame that he's half black.
No.
No, I'm just saying, I abhor it. I really, really do. But I there's a part of me that wishes if you're a white supremacist that you just talk about it a lot and you'd come out and people would be able to identify you. We'd be able to write stories. And, I shared with you guys that in Montana, the atmosphere up there, at least in 2010 when I was reporting, the local white supremacists held monthly gatherings at the public library, and no one really batted an eye. It was just that's just what they do. They meet there once a week, and it becomes normalized. That's not what I want.
Yeah.
But nothing bothers me at all when you have the mayor go into a business and say, have a conversation like they did in downtown and identify that this person's ideology doesn't mesh well with a town founded by a black man and freed slave. And it doesn't bother me at all when a group, anonymous or not, presents information and the local newspaper goes out and confirms it and gets an interview. Like, I think that's actually good and healthy, and it's better than just letting it fester.
I think it's definitely better than ending up with them gathering all at the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really wild thing. Like I said, it is not something I have enjoyed reporting on, but I do think there's a sense of duty that when these conversations come up, the paper can play a role. And another thing that I meant to mention about this was the Chronicle had like a feature story on her in 2019 that did not mention any of this stuff. So I thought it was like necessary at the very least that we say like, oh, by the way.
Right.
You know?
And it was your idea too to go back and incorporate this story somehow into that past coverage.
Yeah.
And we will do that.
All right, and on that note, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jasek from Summit Funding. Here's what a recent client is saying about us.
Hi, this is Chad Taylor. Have you been thinking about purchasing or refinancing your current home? The team at Summit Funding is the best in class. Looking for a conventional FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, or even a reverse mortgage? Trust the team at Summit Funding. Coralie and I did, and we couldn't be happier.
Thank you to all of our past clients. If you have any questions, give us a call at 360-330-4037.
All right, we're back. It's time for segments, and first up is Tales from the Takes page, and someone forgot to enter this section into the notes. Any takers to?
I'll get us started with something that's going to be in the Tuesday edition. It's a Julie McDonald commentary. The headline is "Speakers Talk Trash and Recycling Do's and Don'ts." I'm not only bringing it up because we finally got some stats here on how many tires are moving their way through Lewis County each year.
Go on.
The recycling program last year collected 888 refrigerators and freezers, 1,500 non-refrigerated appliances such as washers, dryers, and hot water tanks, and 240 pure Colombian-cut tons of tires.
Whew. How many of those tons of tires came from our dear, sweet, beloved, adored, beautiful tire pile?
I don't know. I just know 240 tons of tires is a lot of tires.
At least 120 tons had to come from our phenomenal, magnanimous, admired tire pile.
Hang on. I'm looking.
But
our sexy
in all
tire
seriousness, it was a good column by Julie. She sat in on a Lewis County recycling program, solid waste type thing, and they were talking about how last year Lewis County had more trash than ever before, a total of 101,060 tons of garbage, which is the equivalent of more than 200 Boeing 747s.
And 3 news dumps.
According to previous reporting, the tire amnesty event in Centralia collected around 100 tons of tires.
Wow. Not even half. Not even half.
We got to bump those numbers up, baby. Once we fill the Pearl Street pool with tires, we'll be on the right track.
I think they had 2 tire piles in Morton, and then they had a tire pile in PL.
That was just rumored. Never confirmed. Never got a picture.
That's true. Okay. Well, I don't think we have pictures from like any of these, but my point is, I bet it's easier for someone in Centralia to get rid of their tires more often than it is for people in PL or Morton. Well, not Morton, because they have the other transfer station. But in like rural areas, I bet it's a little bit harder. So you save up your tires and then you get rid of them altogether. And I bet there's a little bit more tonnage.
Some of us grew up in rural areas, and we know that if you have a lot of tires, rural area. And if you have a lot of tires, you either you like cover your silage and whatnot out back of your farm and hold the tarps down with tires, or you just do the old-fashioned way. Just go out and burn them.
You don't actually know where I live, do you?
I not as rural as you might think it is.
Anyways, the 2023 budget is based on collecting 92,000 tons of garbage. So seeing as we got rid of 101,000 last year, that you could see how that's a problem. So the column is actually quite helpful. It's kind of a how-to on what you should be recycling and what you aren't. There was like some interesting stuff in there. You can recycle aluminum, right? But if you stomp it and you flatten it out, when it gets to the recycling center, it goes through these grates. It just drops through, and it automatically goes in the garbage with anything else that size. So you shouldn't be squashing them.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, there's lots of little tidbits like that in here that you wouldn't think about, very specific to Lewis County's garbage processing. And I thought it was a great column. Like always, Julie's columns don't fit like opinion usually. She usually attends something, tells you a little history. But this is a hot column about garbage. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
My
Nice hot
favorite
trash
things
column from
in the
Julie.
paper tomorrow.
Great work.
There was a editorial, passage of Centralia's school levy critical to success of our students, which got some attention online. I obviously agree. Great column. And then the Braun commentary this week was on the carbon tax and how it might cost you more for gas. Early indicators are that probably is going to be the case. Supporters even say probably, but not that much. And then just a random column that got sent to me by a lawmaker, which is state lawmakers must address security risks posed by Chinese Communist Party. And this one, I'm not going to lie, I needed a commentary for that space, and it was sent to me. So I was like, it's interesting. We'll run it.
That's from
sometimes.
Matt Boinke Kennewick.
Yes, that is correct.
Boinke.
Great name.
There's lots of
Scientific
other stuff in there,
progress
too.
goes Boinke.
Take a look. Bill Moeller's column was really good this week, too. He wrote about someone that I hadn't heard about that was very successful, looks like impactful music teacher, Kenneth Kimball, over at Centralia College. I'm sure a lot of people older than me would know who it is, but really well-known and renowned Centralia College personnel that I had not heard about.
Yet another well-known and renowned Centralian.
Well, I don't know if he was Centralian. If he's like a lot of Centralia College staff, he probably lives a little farther north.
You know what?
Or a
You're
little
like,
further
I'm
west.
trying to talk about how good Centralia is.
Oh, you have to try? Just comes naturally to me.
Yeah. Some of us lived it.
It's always making it my fault. You know, I'm just trying to be positive.
guy over here. Some of us lived it.
Hey,
Lives on a
two
giant
proud Centralia
spread
College
in
graduates here.
That's true.
At least I graduated.
I didn't.
I'm not sure about you.
I transferred
I
on credits.
attended Centralia College.
Yes.
You want to throw briefly on the end there?
I'm with Isabel on that.
All right. People's Champion of the Week. The only entry says women, ?
Click the link.
I'm not going to.
The only one that I could wait, did you just oh wait, no, sorry.
No, I just clicked on it. Sorry.
Did you just delete
I thought you were
women?
going to delete women.
What is this, Florida?
Canceled.
Women Uplift Women at Lewis County Economic Alliance seminars.
Oh, yeah.
So
Tell me more.
we had local speakers, including Mayor Kelly Smith Johnson, Dolly Tardif from the Economic Alliance, Corley Taylor from the Silver Agency and the Chronicle, Amanda Singleton with Rainier Connect, Samantha Magnuson of Lewis County Coffee, and Susie Swope of the Girl Gone Green blog, and then a special appearance from Skamania County-based Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez. And I heard people really enjoyed this event. I think it was like the first of one thing they hope to make annual. And yeah, they just talked about like being women in business. So I just thought because it is Women's History Month, we could make women the People's Champion of the Week.
I think
Is it
that's not
already
bad. That's
Women's
not bad.
History Month again? I feel like it was just Women's History
Oh my!
Month.
Listen, to
You're
this
literally,
guy.
you're doing a bit, right?
I thought another
Please
good
tell
one.
me.
Another good one would have been Maddie Casper. You wrote about.
Oh, yeah.
15. She graduated at 15 from both WF West and Centralia College, and now she's trying to get the law changed. So if you are, exceptional and you work hard and you graduate from college at the age of 15, maybe you can still play with your soccer team at the high school, which seems extremely reasonable because being a college graduate does not make you any better at soccer unless your degree is in soccer.
Yeah, I didn't go into a ton of
Hot
detail.
take.
True.
I didn't go into a ton of detail in it, but in an email, and I don't think she would mind me sharing any, because she said like we could publish it, but she was saying like, she graduated at 15. Obviously, she's not fully developed. She can't just like go to a university
it
and
changes
play.
nothing, yeah.
And so then she was just like stuck in this weird in-between place. And at the time, she thought she might like go on and play college soccer, but now she's had like 2 years off of competitive soccer, and so she's just not playing anymore. So it really like dashed her dreams. And I mean, that's a huge bummer, obviously, especially just because she graduated early. Like, oh, how horrible, So she was trying to advocate for other students like her in the future.
It seemed like every lawmaker she talked to was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So hopefully it happens. Lots of good ideas don't pass for a session or 4 or 5. So
This is true.
we'll see. My last nominee is Ocean Prime in Chehalis, which opened today. You can find some delightful photos from Jared Wenzelberger. Ran over there for their breakfast time ribbon cutting, and they're going to be serving up lots of stuff: ribeye, tomahawk steaks, king salmon, ribs, soups, sandwiches, pasta, salads.
Did Crawler dine?
He took pictures of some food that looked really good, but no, I don't believe he dined.
You want to describe the food?
Food
You
is
just said a lot of the different things they're going to
breakfast food here. It looks like a Benedict of some sort, but some sort of twist on it.
I can report
Showing
it looks
the
You guys
photo.
have had way too many like screen looking at things for a podcast
It
today.
really just says Isabel
Maybe
sucks.
not enough. That's a Crawler picture? Interesting.
Yeah, no, but people are excited. I'd say that's like consistently the last 3 months or so. If you mention Ocean Prime, people are going to read it.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
super happy
Oh,
about it.
and the Dirty Thumb previous owners. That would be a good one.
All right, now we got to pick.
Spencer and Connie, yeah, they get my vote.
I go with the women.
Oh, man, I'm torn.
All right.
I'll go with women.
You're
Fine.
voted down, Aaron.
Fine.
But only,
Aaron's the reason we have the month.
Yes.
I think that Connie and Spencer deserve a second place in my book. Just,
Yeah, they're great.
yeah, really lovely people.
Sirens Banger of the Week. I've only got one.
Oh, wait, before we go on just that one, we have to talk about the villain of the week.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
We have a villain?
U.S. Postal Service is our villain of the week.
Not your traditional villain, but
Nefarious pseudo-government operation.
oh my gosh.
Didn't deliver the Saturday edition of the Chronicle to a broad swath of our readership. There was some sort of snafu in which the paper was delivered to the wrong postal service station, who then sent it back.
I believe they call those offices.
And then it made it back in time for tomorrow's edition to go out. So I'm not exactly sure where that ended up. I'm not talking, of course, about anyone who works for the U.S. Postal Service locally or has family that works in other offices or the local offices at all. I'm talking about big post office here.
Louis DeJoy directly.
Big post office really screwed the pooch on this one.
It's an honest mistake, and maybe somebody got an edition of the Chronicle that they didn't sign up for out of it.
I got my paper.
All right. Sirens Banger of the Week. This one, you know what? I thought it was a little wild. A woman reportedly left her 2 kids in her vehicle when she went into a store on Louisiana Avenue on Wednesday. Probably Walmart, but who's to say? The woman drove off with the children when the reporting party confronted her. Worth noting, the high in Chehalis on Wednesday was 50 degrees. They weren't exactly burning alive.
We don't know how old the
Why
kids
would
were
you
either.
why would you call the police on
I
this?
don't
I'm so
know.
confused.
What did this nosy Nancy think was going to happen? The lady was going to sit there with her kids in the car and listen to a lecture about child safety until police showed up? Leave people the hell alone. Let police solve some real crimes.
I'm not willing to say that unless the kids are older. Like, I mean, we get reports sometimes of toddlers being left alone in cars. I don't think that's okay on any day at any time.
That's fine.
No, it's not.
Leave them in there.
No, I know you're being sarcastic, but
No, let them fend for themselves for 5 minutes in a car seat. For God's sakes.
oh my gosh,
Helicopter
That's such a
parenting.
poor take.
But you don't know, you also have no idea how long she was going in there.
We don't know much at all.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe she literally was like, okay, you guys stay buckled in here, and I'm going in, I have to grab this thing, and then ran back out. You know what I mean? Like, if she was in there for 5 minutes, who cares if she left the kids in the car? I'm just
I
saying.
need to know some
we need
variables.
context,
Where the
exactly.
keys and the ignition is another thing, because you read every week, it seems, about someone stealing a vehicle with kids inside. Like, it just happens a lot in the stolen car era of Washington, which we are squarely
We know
in.
it never happened to you because you would go to the drive-thru and then sit in the parking lot and eat your food with your children in the back seat.
That's an attempted burn.
While not giving
But you
them
missed.
anything.
There's one place I do it with my kids. My kids are 6 and 8 at the Pearl Street Market by my house. I can see them the entire time I'm inside, so I lock the door, take the keys.
I'm going to follow you until you do that again.
steal
And
my
I'm gonna-
kids.
I'm going to call the police. And
That's
be
another
like,
thing.
This loser.
That's another thing. You're getting gas. Your kids are in the car. You got to go inside and pay for the gas. You going to take your kids out of the car to do that? No way.
Again,
Go inside.
it all
What
depends
is
on
this,
the age.
1975?
Have you ever heard of cash?
I pay cash, Aaron.
No.
I don't trust the banks these days, Aaron. Lost a ton to silicone, let me tell you.
Sure. Anyway, I leave people the hell alone.
I agree.
Like, I can only imagine this woman's like called the police too. Like, there was a woman and she went into a store and her kids were in the car. Oh my God, are the kids still there? No, she drove off. Well, excuse me? Like,
It's just such a Karen.
what happened?
It's a Karen, you know
just
it.
for the sake of argument, Aaron, what would you say to the person that pulled up on Mackinaw's and called the police and were like, someone just had a glass of wine in here?
I would say leave people the hell alone. Let the authorities deal with it. And then the authorities show up and they're like, okay, we're dealing with it.
Nice try. Just jump those uneven bars.
I went into Safeway once when Ty was like 10. And I was like, you know what? He's reading a book. He's fine in the backseat.
Yeah, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, maybe he was like 9.
Are we talking
A little younger than that.
So 4?
And I came out and there was like a cop next to the car. And I was like, what, is there a problem? He's like, well, there's an unattended child in your car. And I was like, he looks fine.
You should have just gasped and been like,
whose child is this? Anyway, that cop was like, yeah, unless they're over the age of 12, you can't leave them in the backseat of a car, like in a car alone. I was like, 12? Really? I was practically driving.
You can't leave
age.
a kid alone in a house unless they're like 11, I think.
I would never.
When I was a kid.
Let people deal with their own kids, for God's sakes.
When I was a kid, my sister used to like throw me outside when it was really cold and then lock all the doors and windows and yell Tana Ika, which is like a Native American like coming of age ritual.
Sounds like appropriation.
Yeah.
Your sister sounds like my sister.
Yeah, she loved to be, like a jerk to me, but it was also funny.
Okay, anyway.
She listens to this. So
That was our Sirens Bang of the Week. Your sister sounds hilarious.
funny.
Are you guys ready for Facebook comments of the week? A little light this week.
Good.
On a new teeth whitening clinic opening in Chehalis, this commenter says, I like this photo because it makes it look like she just whitened that baby's teeth.
Because she was holding her baby. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
On Mackinaw's not getting its liquor license back, this commenter says, I see a lot of folks who feel this is unfair. If those same folks would have continued to dine at her place or even eaten there ever, she would have had a thriving business without alcohol sales.
That's probably true. Yeah, like I said,
point.
she was saying, I wish those people were still here who were here during the lockdown stuff. But at the same time, like I said, she recognizes very much that alcohol was a big part of her business. And so it's not like, anyways, we talked about it. But
On a man telling a homeowner, this is my house, and barricading himself inside with his partner and a dog, one commenter says, did he pee on it first? And another commenter, friend of Sports Dump, Chad Kramer, says, okay, mortgage due in a week, and that power bill is way past due, so you might want to get that paid. And I didn't do anything off that list my wife left for me, so good luck with that when she gets home. I'll be outside in your tent.
That was a wild story. It was an Oregonian story. And the woman was like, her husband had gotten home and just sees a guy walking up to her house with a ladder and like goes outside and is like, sir, can I help you? And he was positioning it towards an open window on the second floor. And he was just, yeah, it's my house. Like, and they had like some pictures of him standing in the house looking kind of menacing. And it took a while to like fix it. This guy just showed up and tried to squat. I'm glad they got him out.
Yeah. On the old Bremerton football coach getting his job back and a $2 million payout from the school, this commenter says, what a good Christian. I can see asking to be made whole on lost wages, but this just takes away from the kids. I'm going to stand on my soapbox here for a second.
we've been doing that
First
today.
of all, the annual salary for an assistant football coach is $3,000-$4,000, not $2 million. Second of all, he was praying, I have read, from the years 2008 to 2015. Bremerton's record during those years was 31-48. They had one winning season. Mm-hmm. Maybe you should have prayed harder. Like, nobody has
Some
stopped to
folks
ask.
say that about Elisha.
Nobody.
Only a few of you are going to get that.
Are you talking about the...
Not all prophets did not suffer, Aaron. Sometimes that's your path.
He wasn't a good coach. Nobody has stopped to ask, like, was this guy good at coaching football? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, but his not being a good football coach is not why he was placed on leave. He was not fired, though. Like, the Seattle Times even had to go back and write a correction. He wasn't fired. He was placed on leave, and then it went into, like, an indefinite status.
Also, the biggest thing in football, any coach will tell you, is do your job, do what your coach tells you. This guy's coach The school board was like, hey, like, stop praying. Like, it opens us up to law schools and shit. Lawsuits.
I actually understand the stance of both sides on this. In my high school, I've shared before, Terry Jensen, the coach at Montesano, did the Lord's Prayer before every game.
You went to Montesano?
Forks.
Oh.
Back when he was less successful. He did it before every game, and it never became an issue. I'm not saying that means it should not be an issue. If someone decides that they're offended by it, they have a right to take it forward in the process as long as they can. But I do know that this happens on high school football fields all around the country all the time.
This is a story that has preceded me by a lot. I haven't really followed it, and it's not super in my realm of what I read about. So I have a question. And it's, did he say to the kids hey, I'm gonna pray now, you guys want to hang out, you can do that?
It wasn't compulsory. That was kind of what ended up being his saving grace.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that seems sort of fine, I guess, if you're hey, I'm gonna go pray, and if you want to join me, you can. But also, if he had to make the kids leave to do it, you know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of where I would draw the line.
I think that's how it got argued in court too, and I think the Supreme Court found that the conservative Supreme Court found that it wasn't sort of fine; it was totally fine, and that's where we're at. I always also like to note that the viral photo that went with this, when this eventually initially became a story, there was probably half the Centralia high school football team, because they were playing that team, wrapped around the prayer circle there that were there as well.
It is a crawler photo.
No, it is not a crawler photo. It is an Associated Press photo. Yeah.
Oh, right.
True. Kitsap's son, I believe, contributed to the press. But yeah, no, I'm not trying to stand on both sides of the fence. I definitely understand it. We had a good letter exchange between Marty Ainsley and Ray Anderson, two East County sluggers when it comes to letters to the editor. And Marty's most recent letter was basically what prayer is okay. So if, for instance, he didn't make this direct argument, but if the Bremerton football coach had gone out there and we're going to pray to Allah now, would there not have been some Christian families that were I got a problem with that?
There would be.
So there's no finality to the debate in my mind, aside from a Supreme Court ruling. But yeah. Interesting discussion.
My point stands. Not a good coach. If he was that good, he'd been there 7 years. He would have been a head coach somewhere. He was old. He is old.
Assistant coach, though, right?
Yeah, he was an assistant coach. This wasn't his profession.
Yeah.
I know a lot of assistant coaches, and believe me, they do not pay their rent with their assistant coaching stipend.
Yeah, $2 million's a lot. I agree.
Yeah.
It's
more than he would have made in 10 lifetimes of coaching assistant coaching football. Anyway.
His congregation of choice likely garnered 10% of that $2 million, if it makes any difference to you, Aaron.
Is his congregation of choice the lawyers who garnered
I'm sure they got more than 10%.
7 million of that? $2 million?
I'm sure.
Anyway.
Don't do the next one.
You don't want the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. We'll just leave that one on the cutting room floor.
There was a bonk involved. I'll leave it at that.
We'll never discuss it.
What's just commenters just continue to be horny on Maine.
You just want to
say
those
history
that.
photos. I do love saying that. Anyway, what's in the next edition?
I said,
or in tomorrow's edition, if you didn't get,
if you didn't get Saturdays for a limited time, there's a pile available here. I think all you got to do is come down here and say you didn't get your paper, and they'll give you a Saturday edition. It's also all at cronline.com. I haven't done it yet, but I will. I'll go down and take that e-edition out from behind the paywall so that everybody can flip through and look at that. But what else do we have? There was a building fire in Onalaska on Friday night, and we got a really striking set of photos from a follower, I think. I don't know for sure if she follows, but Selena Storm took a really nice photo of it. No one was hurt, thankfully, but a building and a bunch of equipment was ruined. We also have break-ins occur nightly as Centralia Oyo residents considers settlement with owner.
Oh, yeah. Owen wrote a nice story on that one. I mean, not nice, but it's well done. Yeah.
We stayed on the top of that story. Sounds like there's a non-disclosure agreement, so we don't know what the settlement is that the new owner of the building's offering, but it possibly would give them an extended period of time in another hotel nearby. People that have lived there a long time, in some cases more than 3 years. And then we had a log truck procession out in Onalaska as well, kind of honoring the life of Robert Perkins before his memorial service. And Robert Perkins died in a workplace accident in the Grand Mound, North Centralia area. Man, there's
It's a good paper.
There's a lot more. Aaron turned me on to a Willapa Bay story that was really good from the Seattle Times.
Oh,
That's
it
in there as
was
well.
really good.
Crossing the perilous Willapa Bay bar holds a steep cost.
You know the poem "Crossing the Bar," Alfred Lord Tennyson.
Yes,
Of course.
It's
I got it tattooed on my rib cage.
you're not you're saying you do know it.
I am aware of it.
Okay. I couldn't stop thinking about that poem and just sort of like literally how this guy lost his grandson on the bar and like the death and everything. Like that story nearly made me cry. I just thought it was so powerful, like, and very interesting and local. And yeah, definitely read that one.
Who wrote that one too? It was Hal Burner, I think. I'm mixing two people up. Hal Burton always does great work, and he does a lot of stuff out in like Pacific County, Grace Harbor County. Some of his big long features are out there.
Yeah.
And he's really good. And I only mention that because we picked up one of his stories once, and I got a direct call from him and got to talk to him. And the only other familiarity I had with Hal Burton was him carrying like 12 SPJs out of an award ceremony, like and having to get help get up the hill in Seattle. And he was calling because he had a minor change. He was like, I see you picked up the story. I got a minor change in the third graph. I'm going to need you to fix that right now. Like he was going around the internet trying to get his story corrected to perfection. I respected that.
Good for him.
Yeah, it was a good story. I enjoyed it, and I was thrilled to learn that you were, of course, running it. I never doubted you.
It was already on the page.
I never doubted you.
Yeah. It almost got pulled off the page because of your recommendation.
I'm sure you had to rush to lay out that page and send me the picture immediately
it
afterwards.
It was halfway through being built, I'll admit that.
Honestly, I am trying to remember what was in Saturday's paper, but I can't for some reason. I can like only think one at a time now.
Oh yeah, you do it and then you move on.
But I do remember picking up the proof of the front and saying "newsy woozy."
Yeah,
so
we
it was a
had,
good addition, I think.
We had the annexation story on the front. We had Laurel on the front.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then we had the 3 robbery suspects arrested out in Grand Mound from the Crescent convenience store.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, no, I remember all that now.
I was lamenting to Aaron. It was a heck of a paper for that to happen to. We also had all-area basketball in there. We had a couple new police officers.
Boy.
Area
Dirty
girls
Thumb.
basketball, right?
That Saturday paper, at the expense of the Tuesday paper, perhaps, was just loaded.
If you missed it,
I thought the
WF West.
Tuesday was all right
Julia
for a
Galen.
Tuesday.
Oh, it was great for a Tuesday. It was a great period. I thought it was a good edition. You're going to want to buy it.
But yeah, go check out the edition. Maybe we could post a link to the Facebook or something like that with a whoopsies, you know?
Signed U.S. Postal Service.
Yeah.
Big
Sorry.
Postal Service, not our locals who we love.
Yes.
If you missed it in Saturday's paper, WF West's Julia Dalen was named the All-Area Girls MVP. Now you know.
True.
She had a great season. She's very good, very tall.
And also has 2 more years left. Is that right?
She is a sophomore, I believe.
So
yeah.
she's just going to win this award for the next 3 years, probably.
You know, things have happened.
Has anyone ever won All-Area MVP 4 consecutive years, in your knowledge, as a former sports editor?
No.
I think they probably try to make sure that doesn't happen.
Probably try not to do freshmen, right?
Freshman Robert Pell won it 3 years in a row. I don't think he won it as a freshman. I can't remember, though, because my first year, he was a sophomore, and he got it that year and the next 2 because, he was really good at hitting and pitching and almost never struck out.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
And so, yeah. In closing, we're sponsored by Summit Funding and also The Roof Doctor. Leave a review and rating on Apple Podcast if you want. It makes some difference to me. Thank you for listening.